Alright, so it's a 1989 M998 Humvee. Humvee is short for High Mobility Multi-Purpose Wheeled Vehicle, I think, HMMWV. This is the M998, which is sort of the basic model. There's a number of different models, like you've seen the slant back, the hard top with the turret on the roof. This is sort of the basic one that's just meant to be a transport. It's got a soft top, soft rear curtain, soft doors, doesn't have the hard top, hard back and hard doors. It's got these geared hubs, which you may not be able to see here, but basically the drive axles don't come into the center of the hub. They come up slightly raised from the hub, and there's another 2-to-1 gearing ratio there that just gives it more torque and also gets the drive axle up more to give you more ground clearance. There's a tremendous amount of ground clearance with the Humvee. It's one of its major attributes. Also, you can see the tires are pushed very far forward, so that gives it a very steep incline angle. So you can traverse a very high hill, tall hill. This right here is called a blackout light, which is kind of a cool thing that you don't see on a normal vehicle. The Humvee, when you put it into blackout mode, will not turn on any of the headlights or regular marker lights. It'll just turn on this one little light, gives it a very tiny amount of light so that the driver wearing night vision would be able to see where he's going, but the enemy wouldn't be able to spot the vehicle very easily. It can ford about 30 inches of water, I believe. With the standard package, you can see my air intake over there. So that allows it to ford up to 30 inches of water. You actually could fill the vehicle. The vehicle could get filled with water. The engine wouldn't suck in any water until you got to that mushroom cap there. So that's how deep you can go. There's another kit you can put on that would extend that up. You've probably seen pictures of other Humvees that have a snorkel that sticks up. You could actually go fully submerged, basically. One of the things that I've done is I put new batteries in. These are Hawker batteries, which are better than the original batteries. And I've also put in a trickle charger, which is down in there. I drilled in this hole and put in this rubber grommet right here, and I also put in a plug through the back seat. Here you can see it's plugged in right now. So I installed that plug in the back, and that just basically lets the Humvee be plugged in and continuously charge the battery while it's not in use. Since I'm not using it very much, it keeps the battery charged. It's diesel fuel. Diesel fuel cap is back here. It's pretty bare bones, the inside. It's just seats and no luxury. There's no power mirrors or power windows or anything like that. All the seats except the driver pop off like this one here where the battery is. There's a lot of storage under the seats for a first aid kit and whatnot. Okay, so the Humvee doesn't have a key, right? We don't want soldiers fumbling around with keys, so it's just a very simple switch that starts it. It's diesel, so it has glow plugs, which that means you got to turn it to run, and you wait for this wait light to go off while the glow plugs heat up. Once that wait light goes off, then we can turn it on. Also has this cable lock, so because there's no key, this is how you can secure the vehicle with a lock. This actually also doubles as a pull start for the engine, which is very tricky to do. I've never tried it, but if you yank on this the right way really fast, you can actually pull start it like a lawnmower in case your battery's dead. It's a way to start the vehicle, but it takes a special technique and it's very hard to do, so I haven't done it yet. Here's the blackout lights I was talking about, so I'll turn this off so you can hear me. So it's in the off position right now, and you can see this is a very odd setup compared to what you'd see in a typical civilian vehicle. This is your light switch, which you can't turn from off. You have to do this unlock button. That's so you don't accidentally turn on your lights if you're in a combat situation and you don't want your lights on. It takes 2 levers in order to turn this on. So if I were to unlock this and I wanted to put it into normal mode, I would turn it this way. First one is stop light. That just basically lets my brake lights work, lets my blinker work, lets the vehicle work in a normal mode like a normal civilian vehicle would work. And then if you turn it an extra click, that puts the headlights on in addition to those other things. If I go the other way, and that I can actually do without the unlock because that's blackout, that puts the blackout mode in. So again, it's first one is if I'm just driving normally, and then full click would be putting on the quote-unquote headlight, which is just the one single light in the front. I can also turn off without doing the unlock. I just can't turn on to the service drive without doing the unlock. And then this one is for if you're this is for the panel, basically, to turn the panel on. Blinker does not click off when you turn. You have to manually click it off. You got a transfer case, and then you got your drive. There's no park on this vehicle, so when you want to park it, you put it in neutral and you put the emergency brake on. Brake has this, mine anyway, has this thing. Not all Humvees have this, but mine came with this little slip ring. It doesn't let you engage that. You have to pull that up. And then normal driving, you keep this in high, the transfer case. You've got reverse drive 2-1. This is a 3-speed. It does not have overdrive. They do make some that have overdrive, and if I go ahead and replace the drivetrain here, I will put a 4-speed with overdrive in it. These other gears on the transfer case would be for if you wanted to go into a really low gear, climbing a tall hill, or getting through a nasty patch or whatever. You could get into low gear. And then there's a high-low. This is full-time 4-wheel drive, so it's always in 4-wheel drive, even in high gear. Just kind of unique. The high lock, rather, it's not high-low, it's high lock. What that does is lock the. You would only use that in situations where you don't want the slip differential to work. You want the full-time 4-wheel to always work on all 4 wheels. You can see that the top that I have is a soft top, as I mentioned. It's all soft top, soft back, soft doors. You can see it's in pretty crappy shape, so. That's one of the first items I'll be replacing with new. Again, I'm going to do the desert tan. I am thinking about putting on a hard top, which I would fabricate probably myself and do it that way. But I got the soft top anyway for the foreseeable future, just to use it. And then when I go to knock it down and rebuild it, I might build a hard top and maybe get hard doors as well. I think I'll probably keep the soft rear curtain because it's a good way to keep the flexibility with the bed. I can use the full bed pretty easily without having something obstruct between the cab and the bed. Inside the rim, there's what they call run flats. I think it's 2 pieces, maybe 3 pieces that come together around the rim. The rim is a split rim, so unlike most conventional tires, which is a single piece rim, this rim actually splits into 2. And you split that open, then you can get the run flat off. So if this were to get damaged in battle and go flat, you can still ride on it for like another 30, 40, 50 miles with it's like a magnesium piece in here. I'm planning on removing that because it's just more weight, and I want to make it a little more efficient for more daily use. I'll probably be removing it, but all 4 wheels have the split rims. That's why you see all these bolts around the outside here. That's what would take it off. The inner ones would take the wheel off of the hub, but the outer ones would take the rim and split it into 2, and then you can take the run flat out once you pop the tire off. This is 24 volt. I don't know if you noticed before when I showed the batteries, there's 2 batteries, not one. They're both 12 volt batteries, but they're connected in series for 24 volt. So all the systems on this are 24 volts, a 24 volt generator. You can see the engine there. It's a 6.5 liter mine is. Most of them are 6.2. This one's actually 6.5, so I've been told anyway. Those are the two versions that they made. I'm going to give it an oil change. The oil is black. I don't have a rag with me here, but you can see it's pretty black. So I'm getting ready to change that. I'm going to change the air filter, which is that big drum over there. It's a very sizable air filter. And it's also, because of the whole fording thing and the mushroom cap, there's like a baffle in there that really kind of restricts the airflow. It makes it a little less efficient, but that's what prevents water from getting sucked in there. So it is what it is. I'll probably leave that. I may decide to modify that to get it to breathe better, and then obviously you don't have the fording capability quite as much, but make it still ford 20 inches of water without a problem. It's only if you've got like a wave crest where the wave kind of hit the mushroom cap. I'm going to change these belts. I have new belts to change. There's two sets of belts. They go in pairs, so if one breaks, you still have one that's viable, which is kind of cool. But there's only two sets of them, so I'll replace those. This right here is a splash guard. It's just plastic. It looks like it's a heavy-duty piece of metal, but it's really just plastic. So these hooks that you saw coming through the hood, this is what you'd use to airlift the Humvee, either with a helicopter or a parachute drop. You use these hooks on the front, and then there's hooks on the rear bumper that are tied to. That's why they come through the hood. And so this is solid steel that goes down through the frame and connects to the chassis. But this thing in front of it is just plastic splash guard. So as mud's coming spitting up here, it keeps it off the engine and the belts and stuff like that. The body of the Humvee is actually aluminum, which is kind of a cool thing. Just recently, Ford started making their pickups with aluminum to save weight. People think that Humvees are this like tank-like fighting vehicle. They're really not. It's really meant to be a transport vehicle. They were kind of used. They were put in combat situations in urban combat in the Middle East, but that wasn't really their intent. And you can imagine aluminum is not nearly as strong as steel in terms of stopping bullets. Not that a steel skin is going to do a heck of a lot more, but it's pretty lightweight. And the hood is actually fiberglass. Again, probably just saving on weight. They didn't perform very well. So I guess that's why they're out of service now. They're doing the new vehicle, which is the JLTV, which is more tank-like. It's definitely more of an armored vehicle. Doesn't look as cool in my opinion as the Humvee, but it's a little more robust in terms of a combat vehicle versus just a transport vehicle.